Fight him off. From the window, you can see the few rays of sunlight that reach the sea floor, undulating in the current. Despite being submerged, the temple is filled with air. You can't help but wonder if this is the power of the spirit at work. In her ever-cheerful way, Fila explains that this is where Azure Maidens undertake the ocean trials. "Let's get going," she exclaims. Hyde watches as she leads the way, concern apparent in his eyes. and fight. The stela is shaped like the azure spirit, guardian of the isle. Show 'em what you got. Magnificent. The door is sealed tight. The image of a crystal is carved into it. On further inspection, you see words inscribed as well, but they're faint. You can make out the words, "Touch the stela." This must be the trial, Fila murmurs. You decide to look for clues to help her open the door. A crystal is carved into the stela. Maybe I have to do it because it's my trial, Fila says, reaching out toward the stela. You decide that this isn't the stela you're looking for and try to find another. The stela is shaped like the azure spirit, guardian of the isle. When you look closely, you can see small words carved into it. Hyde contemplates the words for a moment, then speaks. We should try touching the stela with the same image as the door. The image of a crystal and the words, "Touch the stela," are carved into the door. A temple is carved into the stela. Fila gently touches the stela, and it releases a faint light, but the area remains silent. There is no indication that the door has opened. Let me try again, Fila says, touching the stela once more. This time, the light dissipates. She then panics and replaces her hand on the stela, causing the light to return. It appears the stela can be illuminated and darkened by the Azure Maiden's hand. A fish is carved into the stela. You hear a noise in the distance. It's the sound of the crystal door being unlocked. Touching the stela seems to elicit no reaction at all. Past the crystal door is yet another door. On this one is a carving of a temple. You hear a noise in the distance. It's the sound of the temple door being unlocked. Don't hold back. There's a map carved into the door. Realizing that there is no keyhole, you figure it must be sealed by a mysterious power. You recognize the pattern from your own map. This is the South Aisle, you say. From behind you, you hear a door open. Sounds like we're being invited in, Fila remarks. You all exchange looks before heading toward the noise. And fight. The stela is shaped like the azure spirit, guardian of the isle. You can see the following words carved into it. Fila gently touches the stela, but you don't hear a door open. There must be some other stela you need to illuminate. When you do, you hear a distant sound. There's no doubt the door with the map carving has opened. A boat is carved in the center of the aisle. And fight. And fight. Fortune favors the bold. Magnificent. A lighthouse is carved in the center of the aisle. The stela is shaped like the azure spirit, guardian of the isle. You can see the following words carved into it. A moon is carved on the west side of the aisle. A sun is carved on the east side of the aisle. You wait a moment, but nothing seems to change. There must be other stela you need to illuminate. You illuminate 2 stela, but the path remains closed. There must be other stela you need to illuminate. A star is carved in the center of the aisle. Stela gently touches the stela, and it releases a faint light. You can hear something crumbling. Then suddenly, seawater begins rushing into the room. As if the water isn't bad enough, a gigantic and terrifying snake-like figure comes with it. The water threatens to knock you off balance, but you steady yourselves and prepare for battle. Hope you win. Magnificent. Fortune favors the bold. Yikes. Magnificent. Once the battle ends, the rushing waters calm. The trial in this room seems to be over. You might be able to find the path onward now. The wall itself opens up like a door, revealing a room behind it. You wonder if this is where the water and monster from earlier were hiding. The stela is shaped like the Azure Spirit, guardian of the Isle. The stela is shaped like the Azure Spirit, guardian of the Isle. This one doesn't seem to be booby-trapped. This door has been passed through for the ocean trials many a time. There are no words carved into it. You hear a mysterious voice echoing in your head. And then the door opens, as if inviting the maiden in. The stela is shaped like the Azure Spirit, guardian of the Isle. It watches over the altar. The stela is shaped like the Azure Spirit, guardian of the Isle. It exudes a divine air. The stela is shaped like the Azure Spirit, guardian of the Isle. There are traces of words, but they're illegible. The stela is shaped like the Azure Spirit, guardian of the Isle. It looks old and weathered. You stand before the altar, where the ritual will take place. Grateful for helping her pass the ocean trials, Fila speaks to you and your allies one by one. We always had the best conversations, she tells Laddie with a smile. Laddie returns the gesture. Thank you for showing me a strange new world, she says to Lack, who blushes ever so slightly. Finally, the Azure Maiden turns toward you with an earnest look in her eyes. Protect Laddie, she tells you. Fila sees through your evasive reply and smiles, knowing that she can trust you. Before the ritual, the two hold each other without a word, sharing in their mutual warmth. The scene before you almost breaks your heart. It's as if the two are saying their final farewells. Fila climbs atop the altar, and the maiden's relic begins to shine, as if responding to the altar. Amidst the dazzling light, the Azure Maiden turns to you and speaks. With those words, Fila transforms into light and journeys to where the spirit dwells. Her ceaseless smile remains on her face until the very last moment. The tears on her cheeks, however, tell a different story. The Azure Maiden's relic clatters to the altar. The ritual is over. Silence fills the room. Fila, the Azure Maiden, is gone. The sacrificial maiden's ritual, conducted to protect the island, has claimed her. You shift your gaze toward Laddie and wonder if she embarked on this journey knowing this harsh truth. A voice breaks the silence. The Azure attendant's spiteful laughter reverberates throughout the room. Neither you nor Laddie can hide how shaken the man's sudden transformation has you. You had expected sadness, not this. Your voice quivers as you ask. Hyde doesn't hesitate to answer your fearful question. Hyde tells you that the village forced him to be the maiden's attendant, regardless of his wishes. Attendants must follow the village customs and continue to serve the spirit summoned by the maiden during the ritual for their entire lives. Becoming an attendant forced him to give up on his childhood dream of becoming an accessory craftsman. Because of that, he abhorred the Azure Maiden from the bottom of his heart. Even so, he continued to play the role of the smiling lover that Fila desired. Hyde raises his fist overhead to smash his couple's charm, indelibly stained with his deep-seated feelings of hatred. But he cannot bring himself to throw it down. The words of the sprightly young Azure Maiden echo in his mind. Though he should have hated her, he had been bewitched by her magical smile. The cries of the Azure attendant, filled with both hatred and sorrow, reverberate through the halls of the seabed temple. Forever and ever. Hyde says, "Leave me be." Your group leaves him and re-emerges from the depths of the sea. Laddie grips Phila's Maiden's relic in hand. The Azure attendant entrusted it to you to help you on your journey. When you parted ways, Hyde informed you that there was rumored to be... When you parted ways, Hyde informed you that there was rumored to be a hot-blooded maiden in Hero's dominion on an isle in the Western Ocean. You call out to Laddie, who is gazing forlornly at the Maiden's relic, and your group returns to your journey. The attendant mutters, but to who you cannot say. Pitiful, just pitiful. His miserable murmuring gradually melts into tense silence. The village gets so quiet without the maiden here, he says sadly. She gazes intently into the crystal ball. The next maiden will be, she says haltingly, choking back tears. The man gazes out at the sea, his fishing seemingly forgotten. When will the maiden come back to our village? The young boy asks himself, diligently folding paper into a gift for her. I too ought to live my life the way I want, she whispers to herself. It appears the sea has undergone a change while you were adventuring with the Azure Maiden. The route to the western seas has opened. Now you can look for a way onto the isle where the Maiden lives. Show 'em what you got. Fight him off. I don't know what it is, but there's just something so relaxing about the sound of waves. Fight him off. Oh, excuse me. You can't. Ah, the great open sea. Huzzah! What an adventure! Fight him off. magnificent. You did great. Ahoy, matey. It's like you can feel the sea breeze. Oh, yeah, don't hold back. Teamwork makes the dream work. And fight. Fortune favors the bold. Your journey across the sea has taken you to the West Isle. On the West Isle, you will hear the tale of a maiden in red. Very well then, prepare to go ashore. The West Isle's parched, russet-colored expanse greets you. The bones of weaker travelers strewn about it, as both welcome and warning. you dock your ship at the pier and set foot ashore. Laddie takes a deep bow in the direction of the Bon Fong, as if thanking it for safely delivering everyone to land. You consult your navigation map once more to confirm your location, and resolve to head through the gorge toward Hero's Dominion. Your pitch strikes a ripened fruit dead on. Its splatter rains down upon your heads. Don't hold back. Laddie appears to have found something on the roadside. You look where she is pointing and spot a small drawstring pouch lying on the ground. Inside the pouch is a simple but beautiful necklace. Laddie's eyes light up at the sight of it. You gently place the necklace around Laddie's neck. Though she initially looks confused, when you say, "It looks nice on you," her cheeks flush slightly and she smiles. A thief appears. The brigand points at Laddie's simple necklace and yells, "Give that back." He continues, insisting in a rather courteous tone, "That necklace was something I stole from an accessory shop in Heroes Dominion." As the thief would have you believe, he pilfered the bauble from the shop and then dropped it in the midst of his escape. He's been looking for it ever since. He grabs for it and tries to wrench it off Laddie's throat. You've no choice but to fight to defend your ally. You look down at the thief, splayed flat on the ground, and say a few words of admonishment. If you take anything away from this, let it be that you should stop plying the pilfering trade. The brigand seems to regret what he's done and cries back, "Please listen. I want to return the stolen necklace to the shop I took it from." Honeyed words alone will not let you trust this wayward larcener. You choose not to hand over the necklace. However, the thief does not give up. Practically bawling at this point, he makes a tear-filled appeal. "I just want to make up for the wrongs I've done." You believe the thief's tears of regret are genuine, so you take the simple necklace from Laddie and hand it over. The thief bows his head deeply and then heads off in the direction of Heroes Dominion. You happen to look down and spot a dingy charm on the ground. It seems the thief dropped it as he left. On the back of the charm is a child's writing. "Daddy, do your best at work." Kind of prone to dropping things, isn't he, you utter, somewhat flabbergasted, as you slip the charm into your pack. fight. And fight. Magnificent. You did great. You make your way through the gorge, its walls of russet stone towering above you. It too is littered with the bones of fallen warriors and their sand-blasted blades. Unnerved, you steal only brief glances at them as you charge ahead. But you notice Laddie regards them with a certain sadness. No one says a word for quite some time. Isn't that the Dominion? Lack chirps from its resting place in Laddie's hood, breaking the silence. Indeed, the gorge gives way to a large basin, at the center of which presumably lies Hero's Dominion. Laddie wipes the sweat from her brow and shuffles toward a nearby rock to sit down. Stop! That's a monster, you shout. Too late to prevent it from attacking poor Laddie. In one swift blow, a wild-eyed boy strikes the monster down. You all right? He barks, turning to Laddie. Unfortunately, it seems the enemy was not alone. More of them appear behind you, closing in fast. A man's voice emerges from the helmet and suit of armor before you. Those worthy of being Maiden must never let their guard down, Lavia, it chides. I know, Gladio. I know, the boy grimaces. What luck! It appears you've bumped into the Crimson Maiden completely by chance. Which would make this Gladio fellow, in all the armor, the Crimson Attendant. This is all terribly convenient. You thank the duo for saving Laddie, and explain that you will have need of the Maiden's relic if they'd be so kind as to lend it to you. The Crimson Maiden appears startled by your sudden request. Apologies, but we're in a hurry, he says curtly. Apparently, a foul beast the Dominion uses for blood sport has escaped, and it has fallen to the Crimson Maiden to recapture it. Unwilling to let these two out of your sight after such a fortuitous meeting, you agree to help them track the beast down. This must be a stela of the Isle's guardian spirit. Fortune favors the bold. You find a beast lurking in the shadows of the valley, but it does not appear to be the one that the Crimson Maiden is searching for. It glares at you. Seems you're not getting out of this without a fight. Don't hold back. Magnificent. Yikes. Your stance keeps slipping. Gladio hisses at Livia as soon as the final blow's been struck. Sorry, Livia shoots back and resumes scanning the area for monsters. The innkeeper challenges you to an arm wrestling match in lieu of any greeting. You handily defeat her. She then informs you that strong warriors such as yourself get to rent rooms free of charge. You and your party can stay however often you'd like. As you walk away, you're fairly certain you hear her bitterly complaining that she's yet to win a single match and that her business is doomed. The party leaves the inn feeling rested. You find a beast huddled in a small burrow in the rock wall. But it does not appear to be the one. Nevertheless, it is not happy to have an intruder in its home and attacks. The party readies for battle. You find a beast and immediately raise your sword to it, but it does not so much as flinch. Upon further inspection, it looks like a falling rock or something has crushed the poor creature's life right out of it. It's dead, Lavia says flatly. Lack and Laddie suddenly exhale, hands pressed to their chests in relief. Gladio, sensing an imminent threat, tells everyone to be on their guard. The clanking of heavy chains precedes the appearance of a massive beast. Blood drips from the iron hammers clutched in its fists. The party grips their own weapons ever tighter, fighting their own looming sense of fear. Magnificent. Magnificent. Teamwork makes the dream work. The Maiden launches one last attack as his attendant strikes the beast with the pommel of his sword. At last, the feral fiend falls silent. Lack and Laddie break out into a round of applause, which Levia greets with a smile and a playful swipe of his nose. "We're not done," Gladio reminds the party. He binds the beast in chains, hoists it up with one hand, and carries it back toward the Dominion. You never did get to ask about the Maiden's relic in the end. You follow them back to Hero's Dominion in hopes of rectifying that oversight. Hero's Dominion. A place so renowned, stories of it reached you across the vast sea. The cries of powerful warriors pierce the air, though it's impossible to tell if they're cries of joy or pain. Levia informs you that the Dominion attracts all manner of warriors who long to prove their strength in battle. There are even more than usual, he says, thanks to the tournament that's due to begin soon. The party makes their way to the arena, eager to return the captured monster to its cage. The woman's eyes dart between you as she scribbles something in her notebook. She who controls the information controls the fight, she says, before asking how powerful you are. To hear this man tell it, the last maiden was a proper hero of war. Compared to her, well, he trails off as a heavy sigh of disapproval forces its way out of him. The maiden's shrine yet stands, though you think it looks rather forlorn. Clearly, it has been neglected in favor of the arena. Watch yourself. Folks around here will use any excuse to start a fight, the woman warns you. You can't help but notice the glint of a knife in her belt. Apparently, battles with captured monsters in the arena are quite the spectacle. There is one ferocious beast, she explains, that has vanquished every warrior to have challenged it. The man stands stock still, silently praying over those whose lives were lost in the arena this day. You stepped on my foot, the man says, squaring up to you mere inches from your face. You have no memory of stepping on anything even vaguely foot-like. You apologize profusely, hoping to avoid any trouble. "Aw, we were supposed to duke it out," he says, clearly disappointed. "I'm gonna apprentice with the attendant," the man boasts. He drops to the ground and manages a mere 5 push-ups before collapsing in exhaustion. Upon entering the shop, Laddie looks surprised and points at something. Following her gesture, you spy the familiar sight of the simple necklace. The owner explains that this necklace had been stolen, but then, wonder of wonders, the very miscreant who made off with it later returned it himself. Suddenly, from the back of the shop, said miscreant shows himself. The one-time thief bows his head self-consciously. Evidently, the owner took a shine to the honest thief and offered him a job working in the shop. You remove the dingy charm from your pack and hand it to the man. Taking it in hand, he is so overcome with joy that he begins to weep. As it turns out, the charm was a gift from his beloved child. He had been searching for it all this time. He grips the cherished charm tightly, explaining, "I only ever stole to put food on the table for my child." The shop owner proffers something to you, calling it a thank you for helping him meet a man with such an honest heart. We need the money. The kids have to eat, the woman says to herself, seeming ready to put her life on the line to win. The man eagerly awaits his turn in the ring. My quarrel is not with humans, he says gravely. You take that to mean he'll only be fighting monsters out there. No, I forgot my salve, the man yells in a panic. A sudden calm washes over him. Oh, wait, there was a merchant back in the vestibule. What an emotional ride this man's life must be. A gate stands tall before you, marred here and there by deep gouges and scratch marks. You reckon the monsters for the arena battles are kept within. The receptionist calls out to you as you attempt to open the door. Apparently, you're not allowed in yet. Gladio drops the monster in front of the reception desk with a wet, meaty thud. I felled it, Livia says without hesitation. I expected nothing less, the man behind the desk says with a hearty laugh. It quickly becomes clear, however, that this compliment was intended for Gladio. Livia chafes, but at least the beast has been returned. The party makes its way back out of the arena. I'm not taking registrations now, the receptionist says flatly. What's a runt like you come to the arena for? The warriors sneer in Livia's direction. His blood clearly boiling. Livia spins around on a heel and raises his fist. Say that one more time, he shouts. Fists raised and eyes locked. You can see they'll come to blows any second now. You reckon Livia's no match for his opponent and decide to intervene on his behalf. You call out, and the warrior throws a flurry of fists your way. Thankfully, you anticipated this would happen and managed to dodge them cleanly. The warrior's meaty fist flies toward your abdomen. Your arm instantly meets it in the air, stifling the attack. Having successfully drawn him out far enough, you swing your leg up and deliver a beautiful kick. Enough, Gladio barks by way of intervention. Despite picking the fight in the first place, the warriors show no interest in going up against the attendant. They slink off, complaining bitterly as they do so. By all accounts, Livia endures rather crude treatment, despite being a maiden. You snap out of your thoughts when Gladio turns and thanks you for aiding in the monster's capture. He tells Lavia to show you to the inn, as if to suggest everyone could use a rest after that fight, and takes his leave. You arrive at the inn, eager to rest. You mention to Lavia once more what brings you to the West Isle. You speak of the current state of Omega Isle and how the Maiden's relics are key to saving the island. Lavia hears your tale in full, only to politely decline your entreaty. He pauses for a moment, lost in thought. "I'm not the Maiden," he confesses rather abruptly. Lack helpfully explains that since Lavia is not an official Maiden, his relic is no more than an ordinary weapon, and therefore of no help to Laddie. He explains that while it's true he was born into a long line of maidens, he has not been recognized as the Maiden on account of being a man. That his mother, the previous Maiden, fell in battle, and he has simply been named as Maiden to fill the role in the interim. Lavia, his confession complete, bids you farewell and walks off. Clearly, the Maiden's circumstances are as varied as the islands on which they live. On the desk is a piece of paper, upon which is scrawled a terribly handsome doodle of Lack. Lack floats in the air, its mouth gently opening and closing. You presume it to be asleep. You lift your hands close to its ear and clap once with vigor. "Explosions! Help! We're all gonna die!" it shrieks, shooting even further into the air. Laddie sits in the chair, head bobbing in a desperate, if futile, struggle against sleep. She's no doubt exhausted from all the fighting. Everyone is plainly spent from a day of fighting. The time has come for rest. "Enter the Maiden's match with me," Lavia blurts out nonsensically, barreling into your room. "It's a special tournament, and it starts soon," Lavia explains breathlessly. "As it happens, they'll select the next Maiden from the winners. A fitting festival for the might-obsessed hero's dominion, you think. But will they actually recognize Lavia as the next Maiden if he wins?" Lavia says he simply wants to win the tournament and gaze smugly at all the people who've called him weak over the years. You think back on how the citizens of the Dominion treat Lavia, how hard he works at a dangerous occupation, yet receives no respect for it. You can hear the pain of it in his voice every time he speaks. "All right, it's a deal," you say. Besides, fighting people from all sorts of different places sounds like fun. "When does it?" you begin, but Lavia cuts you off with an excited, "Tomorrow." The sun is dazzling on this, the morning of the tournament. The clanking of blades echoes all around you. Let's get to reception quick, Lavia chirps as he joins you en route to the arena.